Alright guys, welcome back. We picked up this Super E ripoff. It's a Chinese copy of a S&S Super E carburetor. And it has this cool gunmetal finish, so we actually like this one. The S&S versions are usually smooth. So
okay, tell them why we're switching though.
We're switching because this Bendix carburetor that was on it before is absolutely just garbage. It sucks in every dimension.
Okay, so for all the guys who love them out there, I don't know. I mean, this dialing in it is above our pay grade. I'll say it like that. We don't know enough about them to know when it's good and when it's bad, and I really don't want to waste my time learning about it when I'm not really a fan of that carburetor to start with. We tried rebuilding it. We tried doing everything that we thought to make it good, to make it work, and it didn't work. So we're just gonna go with the tried and true Super E. Figure get better performance anyway on the Shovelhead. So we got new little gaskets here. We're gonna try to throw the manifold in right now. These little band manifolds can kind of be a pain in the neck sometimes, but we'll see what we can do. But I think we're gonna be more comfortable. I'm actually, strange enough, I'm actually more comfortable with the rip-off S&S style carburetor than I am with this one, only just because we know it so much. So what do you think, Johnny? Easy, right?
I think that we'll be much more comfortable. We'll be much more at home with this carburetor than this monstrosity. I don't even, did we ever figure out what that was?
With what?
This weird fitting thing?
So no, because we have never even figured out what the hell that was. Oh. I think that my personal feeling is maybe the bowl is cracked or something weird, and
it did leak gas everywhere.
Repeating it, fixing it somehow, and I mean, even just stuff like that annoys me, so I'm just not even going to get into trying to make it work. I'd rather just go with something we know.
Yeah.
Go with what you know, right?
Yeah. So this carb, we had problems with the air-fuel mixture. It was either too rich or too lean. We couldn't really figure it out. We had trouble starting it. And then also, once we got it started, and then it stalled on us, this started pouring gas everywhere. A part of this rip-off carb that's actually somewhat better than the S&S is these block-off plates. I don't know what these are blocking off, but these are really nice billet pieces. Got one right there, got one right there. I mean, that's basically better than S&S. So this is a definite upgrade for us.
The S&S are just like plugs, right?
Yeah, the S&S are just have plugs there. They just have brass plugs in it, but these are billet pressed in, so nice. Alright guys, so we just got this manifold all cinched down and in there, so
hopefully that'll make a good seal.
Yeah, it has these weird rubber band gaskets. It's like this big piece of rubber, and then you have to put this big old fat clamp over it. But I mean, that's pretty solid in place, so we're just gonna get to bolting the carb up to it. Alrighty, that goes in there. No, again, I think it barely reaches. Yeah, like just about barely fits. So with our throttle setup here, there's a little bit too much resistance inside this grip here. So that means that this throttle blade doesn't want to return when it's on the bar. But when it's just sitting there, you can crank it and it likes to snap back. So we put some grease up on here. Hopefully that should solve our problem. The guy before us had grease on here, so
maybe he knows that inside that maybe after you chrome the handlebars or
pull it back.
Bars or
I'm gonna pull it back just a smidge. There,
chrome,
try that.
You know, maybe that's what's happening. Maybe it's just
the bar's too big and it's binding on
or
that.
Or you know, the inside of that, inside the idea of that little metal, because he's running like a little metal grip and
oh no,
did it break? Did that cover break?
What cover?
It just kind of moved in a weird way. Okay,
let's try that.
Let's see. Wait, do it again. My fault. Go.
No.
Now it's getting caught.
Because when it was loose.
Let's slide this on the bar. Oh.
Oh, we broke it.
What the hell?
Well,
see, that's why you said it was considerable amount of force, because that was hanging up.
Well, there's your issue.
Well, there you go.
Oh,
look, this thing is shredded.
It just shredded even more. Oh my gosh.
All right, so throw that out. Grab
garbage.
Grab me a set of the stock Harley grips. The good news is the carb seems to line up. The good news is the cable worked. Everything worked except for as soon as you went to crank it. And that's why it was resisting so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was broken inside. The cool part is the carb's going to sit right here. It's going to look really nice. We're going to route
lower
that
than usual
cable right into here. I built a little little bracket there for the mounting. So we'll wait to mount all that up because we want to get it to, you know,
work.
Yeah, we want to get the cable on first before we mount all that up.
So now it's back to waiting on parts. Basically.
Back to waiting on parts.
Back to waiting on more parts for this thing.
Yeah. Here was our issue. As soon as we started turning it, old pot metal, obviously just
shattered.
Just broke, failed, and this is probably good because in the end I talked to Johnny about it a week ago. That I was probably just going to change these grips out anyway. We went with just this standard, they call that jackhammer single cable, and Johnny went crazy, psycho, machining out this little thing here and making a standard Harley cable work, which I think is pretty cool. But as you can see here, here's our S&S style carb, and check this action out. Watch, nice and beautiful. Look at that. Oh my God, talk about throttle snap. That is what we want.
And the gasket on the back of these, sometimes we have like a little like block spacer, but
yeah, we're not running a block.
We're not running a block. We're just having, there's a little O-ring on the back.
Yeah, I think that should seal off nice. And in this case, we're not running a block right now. And I don't on this. Normally on an Evo twin cam we will, Sportster we will, but on this shovel we'll just run it straight in. That's the way it was run before. Give that throttle a couple turns, Johnny, to make sure we're how we should be. Feel good? No? Yeah? Good.
Nice. Alrighty guys, we got the S&S carburetor on the bike. We got it all plumbed in, mounted up. This is a custom bracket my dad made. Just bolts right up to the head. Make sure that this doesn't spin because of how it's mounted. It's mounted with these rubber bushings in the back, so when you don't have this kind of support on it, you can just sort of tilt the carb. So got that all bolted up, ready to go.
Got the fuel lines on, get everything all tightened down.
Fuel line, fuel filter, because we don't know what's inside this tank. It could be
who knows what's in that tank, man. I don't know.
Candy wrappers, whatever. So we don't want that going in our carb, so we got a fuel filter here. I think there's a problem with it where when gas sits in it, it pulls the dye out of that little element, and then it sort of turns like murky.
So this is where we're at. Let's see if we got good action. Got great throttle action. Opens and closes nice. Cables are routed nice through there. Everything looks clean and actually looks a lot better than the last version. So not only are we running a carb that we like better, but I think the routing is better than the Bendix, don't you think?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, so I think, or Zenith or whatever the hell the thing was that we had on here originally, but we'll see. The next video, we're gonna actually roll it out. I'm gonna have Johnny start it. He seems to have the lucky leg here. Wonder Boy seems to start the bike a lot better than I do, so we'll have him do it, and hopefully we won't have another catastrophic
oh yeah, the oil leak. I think we got it cinched down pretty well.
Yeah, it wasn't
tightened.
Yeah, the little cam piece was not turned in there. But we should be running next video, hopefully.
All right.
Right, knock on wood. I don't ever want to jinx myself, but this thing will run. Oh, and here's our grip. We put our other grip on, obviously.
Yeah.
That's looking good. And again, just simple. I mean, they're not, they're just what's standard. I've run them on Shovelheads for the last 30 years now, so just simple, easy grips, nothing, no big deal. Again, just kind of fits with the bike. So anything else we can think of?
No. I mean, it's basically ready to fire. We just got to turn the key, kick it over, and it's going.
Yeah.
It's one kick. I'm telling you.
One or two kicks. So I'm gonna believe him on that.
Well, if it's primed properly, it's one or two kicks easally.
Okay. And we got a nice easy jetting in there that should start. Same jetting we run.
And digital ignition. That's huge.
Ignition. So hopefully everything's timed right and it should work. And yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Next one. 2 kicks.
Next episode. See y'all later.